In the early 1980s, men in Harare, Zimbabwe would wake up on top of a grave in the graveyard. No memory of how they got there. Their money gone, their clothes destroyed, and the beautiful woman they had followed into the night completely vanished.
Ini Peggy ndakangoitawo zvekunzwa kuti aionekwa mumakuva medu asi kuti ndakambomona kwete ndinombomona.
After the news spread, it became a rule for local men never stop for a woman after midnight. Not because she was dangerous, but because she wasn't a woman at all. She was Peggy, a ghost, an avenging spirit.
Peggy takakura tichimunzwa tiri vadiki kuti she was an unregistered sexual worker. Saka unfortunately akazofa but ainzi anga ane zvigumbu. Saka zvikunzi ghost rake raimuka richiterrorize vanhu iwe richitotsvaga varume vanga vari interested naye.
Before she was a ghost story, she was just a woman, beautiful, alone in a city that had no protection for her. She was murdered and buried without justice, without anyone to speak her name.
During the process.
This is Highfields, one of the oldest African townships in Harare, Zimbabwe, built in the colonial era to house black workers who kept the city running.
Can you give me any reasons why people sing? Why do people sing?
By the late 1970s and early 1980s, it was a place alive with politics and music. It was also a place where, after dark, legends, men start to manifest and parade the power of their pockets to the ladies of the night. So, picture this. 1980, Zimbabwe has just won its independence, and in Highfields, the men celebrate the way men do. With music, with dancing, with cold bottles of beer in their hands, the nightclubs are full. But as the clock ticks past midnight and the clubs begin to empty, a certain type of man begins a certain type of search. These men will be looking for women to take home, to spend some quality time with. A man who is alive today, who you see on the screen, narrates that some of the people he shared a house with as tenants, they knew Peggy, and she was a real person, a beautiful woman, a commercial sex worker who walked these streets at night. But she was murdered by a jealous client, stabbed, and she was buried right there at the local cemetery in Highfields. The same cemetery where her victims kept waking up every morning.
Anenge akatomirira pakona akapfeka zvimwe zvinhu zvekuti zvinenge zvakanyatsa kureba kudai kusvika kuno kuzviya zvemadhina kana kuti chichi but zvine zvinhu zvichena. Iwo ukazonyatsa kutarisisa so unyatsoona kuti munhu uyu anenge asiri kutsika pasi kuoneka kwacho kwechaita obva watoziva kuti ndi taitarisa pasi woregera kutarisa ikoko because chipoko chinonzi chinoshandisa maziso ako iwe.
So, when I was researching this documentary about Peggy the Avenging Spirit, a lot of things did not add up. There are two theories that I've noticed in this whole story. The first one, it speaks about Peggy passing away during the process of terminating a pregnancy, and the mom was helping. So during the process, she passes away. And the other theory talks about Peggy being murdered by a client. So now I'm left with a lot of questions. Which theory is true? In the tradition of the Shona people of Zimbabwe, that kind of death that happened to Peggy, sudden, violent, unresolved, does not simply end. It evolves. People in Zimbabwe believe that a human being is not a chicken which you can kill and say it's over. People here believe a human life is sacred. In Shona cosmology, the spirit of a person who died with deeper bitterness and unresolved grief becomes what is known as Ngozi, an avenging spirit. The avenging spirit is not a passive ghost drifting through empty rooms. The avenging spirit is the spirit of someone who died violently or in extreme anger. It never finds rest until full retribution has been made. The Ngozi never rests. It hunts, it attacks, it does not care about the living's comfort or fear. It seeks only one thing: retribution. And Peggy had every reason in the world to want it. She was young, she was beautiful, in a city that offered few options to women like her. Far from their villages, these kind of women, poor, with no family nearby, she turned to the streets to survive. Night after night, she knew the area around the nightclubs. She knew the men who came looking for the kind of woman she is. But one night, one of those men was not just looking for company, was not looking for a woman to spend some quality time with. He was looking to take something he had no right to take. Peggy was murdered. No arrest, no trial, no justice. Her body buried in the local cemetery. So this is what happened when Peggy came as an avenging spirit, Ngozi. She did not attack innocent people on their way back from work. She did not hunt hospitals or schools or markets. She did not touch women or children. She specifically hunted men who were out at night, drunk, looking to purchase the company of a woman. Every single one of our victims had made a choice that night. The choice that their wives, their mothers, their daughters did not know about, did not approve. And every single one of them, the victims, woke up on a grave, on top of Peggy's grave, humiliated. Motorists were a particular target. Men who stopped for Peggy on the road, who invited her into their cars because she was beautiful and the night was long, reported that she would vanish mid-journey. Imagine you are in the car with a woman who you just picked up and she just disappears. The windows closed, no door opened, no window moved. She was there, right there beside you, and then she was not. And the men who experienced this reportedly never stopped for a stranger at night again. I wonder why. Now the question is, was Peggy real? Was she a ghost, a spirit, or something else entirely? Three distinct theories have emerged over the decades. The most widely believed version, especially among older generation and those who hold to traditional Shona beliefs, they believe Peggy was a real woman. She was murdered. She became Ngozi, an avenging spirit, and she returned to revenge not just on her killer but on all men who treated women as disposables. In Shona belief, a spirit like this is not a metaphor. It is not psychological. It is a metaphysical reality. It is a soul denied peace, operating in the physical world with real power. Those who hold this view do not debate whether she existed. They debate only how she was finally put to rest. Then there is the second theory. Many older women believed that Peggy was not a ghost at all. She was a story, a beautifully constructed, perfectly targeted piece of social engineering created by the women of Highfields to keep their husbands at home. Think about it. What better deterrent for a man considering infidelity than the fear that the woman he picks up at night might not be a woman at all but a ghost? The third theory is the one nobody likes to say out loud. Sightings of Peggy became fewer in the late 1980s. By the early 1990s, she had largely vanished from the streets of Highfields and from the headlines. No one was talking about her. Some say she was suppressed by a powerful witch doctor hired specifically for that purpose. The rituals were performed at her grave, and Ngozi, her avenging spirit, was appeased. But others, older people who choose their words very carefully, say something different entirely. They say Peggy was never suppressed. They say Peggy simply moved. Not vanished, not defeated, not erased, but moved. She moved to other streets, other cities. As of now, all over Zimbabwe, Peggy is sighted from time to time. There are stories of Peggy terrorizing certain areas in Zimbabwe. Peggy is not just a ghost story. She is a story about what happens to women who are murdered and forgot. Peggy is a story about the way communities process guilt, desire, and fear, about how the dead in African cosmology are never truly gone. She's the ngozi that society created through its own disasters, and perhaps that is exactly why she refuses to disappear. There is something that stays with you when you sit with the legend of Peggy long enough. Something beyond the fear, beyond the ghost story. A woman died on these streets of Highfield. She was young, she had a name, she had a face that people remembered for decades. Not because she was a ghost, but because she was beautiful. And beauty in a dangerous world is both a gift and a wound. Thank you guys for watching this far. I am honestly grateful, and thank you so much for the amazing support. There is a lot of effort and energy invested in making these type of documentaries, the editing, the filming, the mistakes. So you liking and subscribing and commenting, it means a lot. So I'm kindly asking if you can subscribe and like the video. And thank you. See you next time.